Morning, girls. We have already finished up to 1.4. Today I shall start with you a new lesson, the necklace. I had asked you to read it and come. I hope you have read it. You all know what a necklace is. It's something that is worn around your neck. It's not a chain. A chain is just a single thing, but a necklace may have stones or some showy thing. Look at it on page number 20. You can see the picture of a necklace. Can you see that? That's a necklace. Okay, today we shall start this chapter. It's a very nice chapter and it's very simple too. You will understand it in first shot itself. Now in the first thing, the warming up area, they have asked us in general to talk about your real self and your imaginary persona. Now we all imagine we were someone else. We all feel sometimes. Everyone imagines how I wish I was thin and tall and beautiful or whatever. Or you want to be somebody else. Maybe you want to be Sania Mirza, or you want to be Alia Bhatt or Kareena Kapoor or whoever. So now here's your real self and here's your imaginary persona. So now it's not necessary that you want to be somebody else. It may be also just you want to be intelligent, you want to be good at sports. It can be anything. So in the first box where it is real self, you will talk about yourself. You will talk about who you are, what are your hobbies, which school you go to, what are your likes, dislikes, something in short you can write over there. And in the imaginary persona, you talk about the imaginary person. Now I am somebody else. You have to take some other name, whoever you want to be. And then you talk about what are the qualities that you would love to have. Okay? Then we go down to the next thing, my dream possession. We all dream that we wish that we possess certain things which we do not possess at the moment, but we are in the hope that I wish I had it, and we hope I have it in future. So look at those questions down. My dream possession, what is it? That's the center box. And all around there are boxes and questions. What would you do to get it? Now what is your dream possession? Now it could be anything. Now in this lesson, as we go ahead, I think you know from the very title that her dream possession was riches. Okay, and then we talk about the necklace. Now here, what would be your dream possession? It may be a BMW car. It may be something which you do not have and you wish you had. Okay, so what would you do to get it? Okay, now you are yet too young and you have to work very hard to get something like that. Then why do you want it so much? Now some people want things only to show off, only to compete with others. So you have to mention why exactly you want it. Okay, now it can be even maybe a big beautiful dress. It can be anything. Okay, how you would use it. Okay, when and where you would use it or whatever. What you would use it for. Now depends what. You would use it to only go out for parties, or you'll wear it in the house, or what. Now suppose we are talking about a dress. Okay, where you saw it first. Maybe you saw it on an actress, on some heroine, and you felt, oh, it's so beautiful, I wish I had it. Okay, so where you saw it first. Then its use. How is it useful to you? Its appearance, color, shape, size, whatever. It can be a necklace, it can be a dress, it can be whatever you want, whatever you desire to have. It can be a car, it can be anything. Okay, now we go on to the lesson, the necklace. Go to your textbook. I have shown it to you on the screen as well for those who don't have a textbook. By now I hope everyone has a textbook. The necklace. As I read, I will explain. Kindly pay attention. Matilda was a pretty, charming girl, born, as if by an error of fate, into a family of clerks. She had no means of becoming known, understood, loved, or be wedded to an aristocrat. And so she let herself be married to a minor official at the Ministry of Education. Now the character in this lesson is Matilda. Matilda was a pretty young girl who looked very charming, but unfortunately, as they mentioned there, as an error of fate, okay, as if it was by mistake, she was born in a very poor family, a family of clerks. Who's a clerk? One who works in an office. You know, we have the clerks who sit down in office. Sunita in our office, she is a clerk. Okay, so now she came from that kind of background that in her family all were just clerks. They didn't have any high position. She had no means of being known, because when you come from that background, you mix with people of that background. You do not mix with people of a higher class, and therefore there was no chance of people getting to know her, or she getting to know people of a different class, and there was no chance of her marrying an aristocrat. An aristocrat is a person of a high class, of a higher standard, and so she let herself be married to a minor official. So she got married to a man who was simply an officer in the education department. So she was very unhappy about it. Now as we read, you will see, she dressed plainly because she had never been able to afford anything better. She suffered endlessly, feeling she was entitled to all the luxuries of life. Now she was very, very simple. She dressed plainly because she came from that kind of background, and she could not afford anything better. You have to be rich enough to buy some riches, isn't it? Now she belonged to that family, so she did not have much, and she was very simply dressed, and she felt very, very sad. She felt that she was suffering because she was, according to her, she felt she was so pretty that she should have been entitled to luxuries of life. Now this is a big mistake. This is not possible that because you are beautiful you will have all the good. God has been very just to everyone, and we have different qualities and different things we own, correct? And sometimes good and sometimes bad. Everybody's life is full of good and bad. There's nobody who has only good, and there's nobody who has only bad. Okay? There's happiness and sorrow in everyone's life. Now she suffered because of a shabby, poorly furnished house. Now house was very untidy, unclean, shabby, untidy, and she was poor, and it was also poorly furnished. She didn't have a palatial house with a rich rich furnishing, things which are like a big sofa set or a lovely music system, nothing of that sort. She had very, very simple things, and she felt very, very bad about it. All these things that another woman of her class would not even have noticed tormented her and made her resentful. She was very angry. Her whole life there was lots of anger in her. Another person of that class would have never felt that, oh, I am missing on something. But she felt, since she was so beautiful, she felt always that she missed on something. That is the riches of life. She dreamed of a grand palatial mansion. Okay, she wanted something very posh, like a big palace with vast rooms, big, big rooms, and inviting smaller rooms, perfumed, for afternoon chats with close friends. Like, you know how the people of the higher standard, they have these kitty parties where they invite their friends and they sit down and chat. Okay, she expected that kind of a house where she would have extra rooms, she could just sit and chat with them. Yet she had no rich dresses, no jewels, nothing. And these were the only things she loved. She loved all these things. But unfortunately she had nothing of that kind. She wanted so much to charm, to be envied, and to be sought after. She wanted others to envy her, to feel that, oh, she has something more than them. Okay, to feel jealous of her. She wanted everybody to seek her, to desire her, to want to be like her. She felt that it should have been like that. But I told you, unfortunately, there was nothing of that kind in her life. She had a rich friend, a former schoolmate at the convent, whom she avoided visiting because afterwards she would weep with regret, despair, and misery. Now, when she used to return home after meeting this friend, she used to be very sad. She would be in despair, absence of hope. There was no chance of her having such things. She had no hope also left. she would be very worried, disturbed when she came back, because she would think, oh, how lucky she is, she has this, she has that. That is the way she would think about her friend. So when she returned, she used to be very sad, so she avoided even visiting her friend. One evening her husband came home with an air of triumph, holding a large envelope in his hand. Look, he said, here's something for you. Now he has returned home with an envelope which he thought would make her feel happy. She tore open the paper and drew out a card on which was printed the words, the Minister of Education, and now MME means Mrs. Okay, in French it means Mrs. and Mr. is Monsieur. Okay, you can see it in the pink box on the left hand side. Can you see that there? Okay, so the Minister of Education and Mrs. Georges Ramponneau request the pleasure of Mr. and Mrs. Loisel's company at the ministry on the evening of Monday, January 18th. Please underline the characters. First we had Matilda as the main character, and now we have Mr. and Mrs. Loisel mentioned there. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Loisel is she and her husband, and they are invited by whom? By Mr. and Mrs. Ramponneau. Okay, now they are invited for a party on the evening of January 18th. Instead, now if you are invited for a party, how would you react? You would be very, very happy, all excited, and get ready. Prepare for that party. Prepare. You would decide what you are going to wear and things like that. But let us see how Matilda reacted. Instead of being delighted, as her husband had hoped, he hoped that she would be happy. Okay, but unfortunately, look at her reaction. She threw the invitation on the table resentfully. With great anger, she just threw the paper, threw that envelope, and muttered, what do you want me to do with that? And what do you expect me to wear if I go? Now see, her mind was running to what would she wear. She was thinking of that. Now you and I would decide what we would wear, what we have, if it was possible for us to buy something or whatever. But here she has already decided that she has nothing to wear to go for this big party, okay, of officials, and so she's very disappointed. So, and how does she react? By just flinging the letter, which is very, very sad. Her husband was very disappointed, isn't it? Because he felt that she would have been happy. He hadn't thought of that. He stammered, why, the dress you go to the theatre in? It seems very nice to me. Now this is what he says. Now go to the next page, please. Now he feels that, they used to go to the theatre, maybe go for a movie or a drama or whatever, and she had a nice dress which she wore. So he said, don't you think that dress would be okay? He stopped, stunned, distressed to see his wife crying. He stuttered. Now he did not know how to react, because she just burst out crying. She was very distressed, very upset, and he was a very loving husband, and he did not know how to please her or how to make her feel okay now, since she's so upset. He stuttered. Now stuttered is to be stammering or to repeat the same thing again and again. What's the matter? That's the way. Let's see, Matilda, how much would a suitable dress cost? Now he is giving a suggestion. He said, why are you worried? Okay, let us see. How much would a suitable dress cost? Now, we have to learn to stay within our means. How much we can afford, we have to stay within that. You cannot think of something big when you cannot afford it. So he says, let us see what we can afford. She thought for a moment, computing the cost. Now she was calculating and also wondering what amount she could ask for without an immediate refusal. Now suppose you go to your mum and tell her you're going for a picnic, and you tell her, Mum, give me 2,000 rupees. Would your mum give it to you? No. Outright she would say no. So this Matilda too here, she's deciding, she's calculating how much she could ask for so that her husband would not refuse. If she would ask for too high an amount, he would surely refuse. So she's thinking At last she answered hesitantly. Now she was hesitant. Outright she didn't answer. She was thinking twice, okay? Hesitating. I don't know exactly, but I think I could do it with 400 francs. Now very mildly she put it. Now the amount she asked is also very, very big. But yet she is just in the hope that her husband agrees. And so she says it very hesitantly. I think I'll manage with 400 francs. Now francs was a currency which was used before 1999. Today we use euros in France. This lesson is of a French background, okay? So in France we use euros now, but those days francs were used. So it's a currency, like how we have rupee, like that. He turned a little pale because he had been saving that exact amount to buy a gun for a hunting summer in the country near Nanterre with a few friends. Now maybe it was his hobby to go hunting, and so he also dreamt of something like going there, and so he had saved money to buy what was he wanting to buy? A gun. And that was the exact amount, 400 francs that he had saved. And now imagine, Matilda is asking for it. But he is such a loving husband, he doesn't want to refuse his wife. However, he said, very well, I can give you 400 francs, but try and get a really beautiful dress. Because he feels the amount is quite high, quite a big amount, and so he feels that she should be able to buy something really good. He says, don't buy something too simple, because we will end up again asking for another one for the next party. So that's why he tells her that better look for something really beautiful. The day of the party drew near, and Madame Loisel seemed sad, restless, anxious, though her dress was ready. Now look at those adjectives used. These are adjectives. How did she seem? Sad, restless, anxious. Now she went and bought a dress. Her dress was ready. Now who is this Madame Loisel? This is Matilda. Remember the invitation given to Mr. and Mrs. Loisel? So she is Mrs. Loisel. And she's yet very, very worried, because though she's bought the dress, she wonders whether it will look nice on her, whether she will be able to keep up to the crowd that comes to the party, because each one will wear one dress better than the other there. So she was a little worried about all this. One evening her husband said to her, "What's the matter? You've been acting strange these last 3 days." Now husband and wife usually have a close relationship, and even you and your mother may be close. Now when you return from school sad, your mother will look at your face and immediately ask you, what's happened, why are you upset today, isn't it? Similarly, when he comes home one evening, he says, what is it? I've noticed that you seem to be very upset, you're acting very strange, the way you are reacting to things. What has happened? She replied, I'm upset that I have no jewels, not a single stone to wear. Now we don't wear stones, of course. Now your stone refers to precious stones. It can be a diamond, it can be a garnet, okay? These are the pearls, these are all precious stones, okay? So she says, I don't have a single stone to wear. Now see, first she wanted a dress, now she wants some jewelry. So she says, I don't have a single stone to wear. I would rather not go to the party. Now, in which way can he please her? He has to think of it. You could wear flowers, he said. They are very fashionable at this time of the year. So he says flowers would look lovely in Jan, because they were beautiful flowers blooming at that time, and so if she had chosen the correct flowers to suit her dress, it would look beautiful. And so he suggests that. But do you think she was convinced? No. She was not convinced. The next day, she went to her friend's house and told her of her distress. She told her how upset she was. She told her what happened and why she was upset. Madame Forrester went to her mirrored wardrobe and took out a large box, brought it back, opened it, and said to Madame Loisel, choose, my dear. Now when she goes and tells her friend about it, Her friend knows exactly what she's talking about, and her friend, being so generous, she just goes in and brings a big box. She opens her wardrobe, now her mirrored wardrobe, okay? In some nice wardrobes, you have a mirror attached on the inside. So when you're dressing, you can look at yourself. So she opens that. Sometimes you have it on the inside, sometimes you have it on the outside, on the cupboard too. You know, on your cupboards you have, no? Okay. So she opened it, took out a large box. Now, without even being told, she goes there, brings out the box, and places it in front of Madame Loisel, that is in front of Matilda. Choose, my dear. Now, all friends are not so generous, but dear, this Madame Forrester is very, very generous and understands what her friend is going through, and she offers to lend her a necklace. Choose, my dear. First, Matilda saw some bracelets, then a pearl necklace. She tried on the jewellery in the mirror. Now she kept trying to see what suited her best. She kept asking, "Have you nothing else?" Now look at this. I just told you earlier too, you have to learn to stay within your means. First and foremostly, she has nothing. She cannot afford anything. And here she is acting a little too greedy. She says, "Don't you have anything else?" Now she has high taste. Okay, her choice is very, very great. She wants to choose something better, and so she says, "Don't you have anything else?" "Why, yes." Now this is the answer of a friend. "But I don't know what you like." So her friend says, "I have, of course, other things, but I don't know what exactly you're looking for, or what is it that you want." Suddenly she discovered in a black satin box a superb diamond necklace, and her heart began to beat with uncontrolled desire. Now suddenly her eyes fell on a beautiful necklace, diamond necklace, and her heart began to beat. Okay, you know, when you're a little worried, then your heart starts beating, isn't it? And she doesn't know whether her friend is going to lend it to her or no. At the same time, she knows it's something very expensive, so how can she ask for it? So her heart is beating. She fastened it around her neck and stood lost in ecstasy as she looked at herself. So she had that feeling of great happiness, ecstasy, happiness, joy. Okay, she felt very, very happy because when she put it round her neck, it suited her so well. And she wanted to know whether her friend is going to lend it to her. Then she asked anxiously, hesitating. Again she's hesitating. She's not very sure because she knows it's an expensive necklace. And she doesn't know whether her friend is going to lend it to her or not. "Would you lend me this? Just this? Just this?" She says, "I'm not going to ask for anything more. Will you lend me this?" "Why, yes, of course." Can you see her friend? Mrs. Forrester is so generous. She does not say no. She very willingly says, "Yes, of course." She threw her arms round her friend's neck rapturously. And, one minute, she threw her arms round her friend's neck rapturously, then fled with her treasure. So with so much of excitement, she just went and held on to her friend very, very tight. And she thanked her maybe for it. And she just fled away from there. Fled. Can you see the past tense of the verb flee? F-L-E-E. Means to run away. She just took it and she ran for her life. She was very, very excited that she got what she wanted. She danced wildly with passion, forgetting everything in the triumph of her beauty and success, floating in a cloud of happiness. So she felt she was on cloud 9. Okay, she felt so happy, very, very excited. Okay, she got what she wanted. Matilda and her husband left at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, I missed something. I'm sorry. She threw her arms around her. Okay, the day of the party. I missed that. Okay. The day of the party arrived. Madame Loisel was a success. She was prettier than all the other women. Elegant, gracious, smiling, and full of joy. Can you see? She had all these qualities, natural qualities. You know, some rich people, they put a lot of makeup and try to look beautiful. You know, the heroines in the movies, if you look at them without makeup, they are not so beautiful. But with the makeup makes them look beautiful. So they all had to do all that. But Madame Loisel, that is Matilda, was naturally beautiful. She was very, very pretty. So she looked prettier than everyone else there. All the other women, elegant, gracious, smiling, and full of joy. And you know, when you're happy, automatically your face lights up. You look more beautiful. She danced wildly with passion, forgetting everything in the triumph of her beauty and success, floating in a cloud of happiness. So at the party, she made the most of the party. She danced to her heart's content, happily, full of passion, full of happiness. And she went on dancing and felt as though she was on a cloud of happiness. Okay, she was floating on a cloud of happiness. Matilda and her husband left at about. Now the party gets over. They stay on till the whole night. They are busy dancing there. And she felt on top of the world because she was dressed well and she felt happy in that environment which she always wanted to be in. Matilda and her husband left at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine? When they were finally in the street, they could not find a cab. At 4 in the morning, it's not easy to find cabs, isn't it? A cab is a taxi. They walked down towards the Seine. It's a river. Till they found one. So they walked down that river and slowly along the shore there and slowly on the bank of the river, and there they found suddenly a cab. They were dropped off at their door. Now they caught the cab and at their door in the Rue des Martyrs, that's the area where they live. And sadly it was all over for her. All that excitement, everything lasted only for one day. Now it's all over. In front of the mirror, she took a final look at herself in all her glory. Okay, for the last time she felt, let me look at myself. And everyone who, feels I'm looking so beautiful. When you look at your mirror, look into the mirror and look at yourself, you feel so happy that you're looking beautiful. So she said, let me look at myself for the last time, because the necklace is not hers and she would have to return it, right? But suddenly she uttered a cry. She no longer had the necklace round her neck. She got a shock of her life. When she looked in the mirror, there was no necklace round her neck. What do you think may have happened to the necklace? It may have fallen off. And she hadn't realized it because she was so excited, so happy there dancing. She never realized that the necklace had fallen down. What is the matter? Asked her husband. Now her husband thought that he took her for the party and she was so happy there. So what could have happened now? Why was she crying? He ran to her. She turned towards him, panic-stricken. She was very upset. She didn't know what to do. She had a feeling of fear within her heart because the necklace was not hers. Okay, she didn't know what to do. Running helter-skelter looking for the necklace. He stood up, distraught. Now he was also shocked. He could not believe what happened. What? How? That's impossible. Because he felt that they had just gone for the party and they had returned. And where could it have gone? He said it's impossible. How could it disappear? Okay, with this I will stop. I'll stop the chapter here because there is a part 2 too. We shall do part 2 the next time. The next time we will have an online class. I want all of you to be present. It is on Friday, I think. You have the timetable, right? You go by the timetable. I shall send you the link and you have to join about 10 minutes early. I want you to be in. Okay? Don't come late because you will be disturbing the class. Every time I take you in, it will be disturbing the class. So kindly see that you are ready for the class. Okay? I want you to read the chapter and do all the questions that are at the side. Look at the first page. That is page 18. Go back to page 18. Can you see the questions there? Why was Matilda married to a minor official? Okay, because she came from a family of clerks and there was no chance of her getting into a crowd of richer people, okay? So there was no chance. So she had to make do with a person as simple as a minor official of the education department. Now look at that reflection. Is anyone entitled to all luxuries of life due to reasons of birth or innate qualities? Just because you are born in a rich family doesn't mean you are entitled to all the luxuries. You never know when life can take a turn, correct? Just because you're beautiful doesn't mean you have to have all the good qualities in life. Okay, that's a point for you to reflect on. Why did Matilda weep with misery after visiting her schoolmates? Why? Because every time she returned, she felt very upset that a friend had so much of everything and she had nothing. What did the envelope hold? What did it hold? It held. Now you have to use the past tense. When you're writing the answer, we write in the past tense. When the question is given, it's given in the present tense. What did the envelope hold? It held an invitation to a party on the 18th of January. Okay, by whom? Who had invited them? Mr. and Mrs. Ramponneau. And they've already told you what I've already told you about Mr. and Mrs. Okay, MME, which means Madam, and M means Monsieur. Monsieur means Mr. Okay, we'll go to the next page. Was the husband a considerate person? How do you know that? Was he considerate? Yes, very much. He was very considerate because though he had collected the money for his own hobby, okay, he wanted to go out hunting, yet he was willing to give it to her to buy a dress. Why did Matilda go to her friend's house and tell her of her distress? Because she wanted a necklace, okay, she wanted something to wear, some jewelry. What did Madame Forrester large box contain? What did it contain? It contained bracelets, necklaces, etc. Whatever you read all and you write it down. Next page. Which sentences tell us that Matilda greatly desired the necklace? Okay, which sentence? Look at that. Remember when she looked at that superb diamond necklace? Okay, her heart began to beat with uncontrolled desire. She could not control. She was longing for it. Okay, try to express the thoughts that must have passed through Matilda's mind on seeing the necklace. Matilda's own words. So you have to use it from the textbook only. Okay. Think and answer. Why did Matilda not notice the loss of her necklace? Why? Because she was so happy there dancing, okay, and full of passion she was dancing that she did not realize that the necklace had fallen off her neck. Then you go down to the exercises, the English workshop. Read each of the following sentences aloud and write who said to whom. Okay. Now you know that your question paper is going to be an objective question paper. So you have to read the textbook thoroughly, and everything that I talk about while I am teaching you can be asked in the question paper. So you have to be very careful and pay attention. You can go through all the videos again. Write a few lines what Matilda had and what she dreamt about. Okay, she came from a very sort of lower middle class home, correct? Her house was not furnished, it was shabby. And what did she dream of? She dreamt of all the best of life. Just read the textbook and pick out all the sentences and use them. Then write what you think about the following thoughts and actions of Matilda. Matilda was beautiful and so she wanted to marry an aristocrat. What do you think about this? Do you think it's the right way to think? No, she is thinking in the wrong way. Now such sentences can come also for true and false. It can come in any form. So I want you to read the text thoroughly. Prepare a formal invitation. They have already given you the framework of the invitation. You just fill in everything, okay? Venue is the place where it's going to be held. Read this. The necklace, an error, all these things. Another woman, one evening, and her husband. In all these phrases, you will see they are using something which indicates what they are talking about. The necklace. When I talk about a necklace, it can be any necklace at all. When I talk about the, I am talking about a particular necklace. Correct? Now these words, now look at this article the. Can you see the? It is called a determiner. I want you to put this in your grammar book. You put the heading as determiners. Okay? and you write down determiners include. Go down to the blue portion. They include articles, and in brackets they have written a and the. You know the articles, no? Possessive pronouns: my, our, your, her, his, mine, yours, all that. All those fall under possessive pronouns. Demonstrative: this, that. You can write below that. These, those. Even that comes under demonstrative adjectives. Quantifiers. Quantifiers are those which show quantity. Okay? Many, much, more, less. These are all things, words which show quantity. And numerals. Numerals can be 1, 2, 3, 4. They can also be first, second, third, fourth. The first girl in the line should be followed. You understand? So first becomes it. So these are all determiners. So you have to identify the determiners or fill in the blanks with determiners. Anything can come, considering articles, possessive pronouns, demonstratives, quantifiers and numerals. I shall give you an exercise on it. Okay, I'll send it for your homework on determiners so that you will know what are determiners. With this I end the lesson. I hope you have understood. Please read up, and you can read the second part also and be ready so that what you don't understand, you will understand when I am explaining. Thank you.